Emma Matthews sat alone in the big school auditorium. Her fingers moved across the piano keys like they had done 1,000 times before. She did not need to see the keys. Her hands knew exactly where to go. They always did. The sound filled the empty room. It was a song her mother used to play when Emma was little. She remembered sitting on the floor of their old apartment, listening. Back then, she did not understand why music made her mother cry sometimes. Now, at 15 years old, Emma understood. Music could hold all the feelings that words could not explain. Emma had been blind since the day she was born. The doctors told her parents that she would never see colors or faces or sunsets. Her parents cried for weeks. But Emma never cried about it. How could she miss something she never had? To her, the world was made of sounds and touches and smells. The world was her mother's voice reading bedtime stories. It was the rough texture of her father's work jacket when he hugged her. It was the smell of fresh bread from the bakery on the corner of their street. But most of all, her world was music. When Emma was 4 years old, something strange happened. Her family was eating dinner. The radio was playing in the kitchen. A classical piece came on, Mozart. Emma did not know the name back then. She just knew it was beautiful. After dinner, she walked to the old piano in their living room. Her small hands reached for the keys, and then she played the same song she had just heard. Every note was perfect. Every pause was in the right place. Her father dropped his coffee cup. Her mother stopped washing dishes. They both stared at their little girl who had never taken a single piano lesson. She was playing Mozart like she had practiced it for years. That was when they knew Emma was special. Her parents found her a piano teacher right away. Mrs. Anderson was an old woman who had taught piano for 40 years. She came to their house twice a week. At first, Mrs. Anderson did not believe Emma was really blind. How could a blind child play so well? But after the first lesson, she understood. Emma did not need her eyes. Her ears heard things that other people missed. She could tell if a note was even slightly wrong. She could feel the rhythm of a song in her bones. By the time Emma was 7, she could play anything after hearing it just one time. By the time she was 10, she had performed at small concerts around their town. People would clap and say nice things, but Emma always felt like they were clapping for the wrong reasons. They were not clapping because the music was good. They were clapping because a blind girl could play piano. She was like a trick at a circus. Look at what the blind girl can do. It made her feel small, so Emma stopped performing. She told her parents she did not want to do concerts anymore. Her mother was sad about this. Her father said it was okay. Mrs. Anderson understood. She kept teaching Emma anyway. Not because Emma needed to perform, but because Emma needed music the way other people needed air. Now Emma was in high school. Riverside High School was big and loud and confusing. There were 800 students. Most of them did not know Emma's name. They just called her the blind girl when they thought she could not hear. But Emma could hear everything. She heard the whispers in the hallway. She heard people making jokes. She heard them speaking slowly to her like she was stupid. Being blind did not make her stupid. It just made her different. Emma had one real friend at school. Her name was Sarah Chen. Sarah had moved to town 2 years ago. She sat next to Emma in English class on the first day. While other students tried to avoid sitting near Emma, Sarah just said hello like Emma was any other person. They became friends quickly. Sarah never treated Emma like she was broken. She never grabbed Emma's arm without asking. She never spoke to her like she was a child. Sarah was just Sarah, and that was exactly what Emma needed. Every day at lunch, Emma and Sarah would walk to the auditorium together. Most students ate in the cafeteria. It was too loud for Emma. Too many voices talking at once. Too many trays clattering. Too many sounds mixing together until she could not think straight. So the principal gave Emma permission to spend lunch in the auditorium instead. Sarah always came with her. The auditorium had an old upright piano on the side of the stage. The piano was out of tune. Some of the keys stuck when you pressed them. But Emma loved it anyway. She would play while Sarah did her homework or read her books. Sometimes Sarah would talk about her day. Sometimes they would just sit in comfortable silence. Those lunch periods were the best part of Emma's day. Emma's music teacher at school was Mrs. Chen. She was Sarah's aunt. Mrs. Chen taught choir and music theory. She was younger than Mrs. Anderson. She had long black hair that she always wore in a braid. Emma knew this because she asked Sarah once. Emma liked to know what people looked like even if she could not see them herself. Mrs. Chen loved music the way Emma did. She understood that music was not just something you did. It was something you felt. Every few weeks, Mrs. Chen would stop by the auditorium during lunch. She would listen to Emma play. She would smile. Emma could hear the smile in her voice when she spoke. For 2 years, Mrs. Chen had been asking Emma the same question. Would Emma perform in the school talent show? And for 2 years, Emma had said no. The talent show was a big event at Riverside High. Students would sing or dance or do comedy acts. Hundreds of people came to watch. Parents and teachers and students from other schools. The thought of standing on that stage made Emma's stomach hurt. She did not want people staring at her. She did not want to be the blind girl who plays piano again. But this year was different. It started on a Tuesday afternoon in October. Emma was alone in the auditorium. Sarah had to make up a test in math class, so Emma sat at the piano by herself. She started playing one of her usual songs, a piece by Chopin that she had played 100 times, but halfway through her fingers stopped. She sat very still. Something was trying to come out. A melody, something new, something she had never heard before. Emma's fingers found the keys again, but this time she was not playing Chopin. She was playing something that came from inside her own heart. The notes were slow at first, quiet, like someone asking a question. Then they grew stronger. The melody moved up and down the keys. It was sad and happy at the same time. It was beautiful and painful. It was hers. She played for 20 minutes without stopping. When she finished, she realized her face was wet. She was crying, but she was not sad. She was not happy either. She was feeling too many things at once to name them all. Sarah found her like that, sitting at the piano with tears on her face. Sarah sat down next to her on the bench. She did not ask what was wrong. She just waited. Finally, Emma spoke. Her voice was quiet. She told Sarah about the melody, how it just came to her, how she did not plan it, how it felt like the music had been waiting inside her for years and now it finally found a way out. Sarah was quiet for a moment. Then she asked if Emma would play it for her. Emma nodded. She played the melody again. This time it was even better than before. Her fingers knew where to go now. The song had a shape. It had a beginning and a middle and an end. It told a story without using any words. When Emma finished, Sarah did not say anything for a long time. Emma started to worry. Maybe it was not good. Maybe it was strange. Maybe Sarah thought it was boring. But then Sarah spoke. Her voice sounded different, thick, like she was trying not to cry. She said it was the most beautiful thing she had ever heard. She said Emma had to share it with people. She said the world needed to hear this music. Emma shook her head. She told Sarah she could not. She told her about the old concerts, about feeling like a circus act, about the stares and the whispers. Sarah listened to all of it. Then she said something that made Emma think. Sarah said that Emma was right to stop performing back then. Those concerts were not really about Emma or her music. They were about other people feeling good about themselves. Look how nice we are watching a blind girl play. But this was different now. Emma was not a little kid anymore. She had something real to say. And if she kept this music to herself, she would regret it forever. Emma went home that night thinking about what Sarah said. She lay in her bed and listened to the sounds of her house. Her father watching television downstairs. Her mother talking on the phone with her sister. The old heating system clicking and humming. And in her head she heard her melody playing over and over. The next day, Mrs. Chen stopped by during lunch again. She listened to Emma play her regular practice songs. Then, without really meaning to, Emma started playing the new melody. She had not planned to share it yet, but her fingers just started moving. And once they started, she could not stop. When the song ended, Mrs. Chen did not speak for a long moment. Then Emma heard her teacher walk closer. Mrs. Chen's voice was soft and serious. She asked Emma if that was an original composition. Emma nodded. She felt nervous. What if Mrs. Chen thought it was bad? What if she said Emma should stick to playing other people's music? But that was not what Mrs. Chen said at all. Mrs. Chen told Emma that in all her years of teaching music, she had never heard a student create something so powerful. She said the melody had layers. It had depth. It had real emotion. She said it was not just good for a high school student. It was good, period. Then Mrs. Chen asked the question Emma had been dreading. Would Emma perform this at the talent show? Emma's first instinct was to say no, to give all the same reasons she had given for the past 2 years. But something stopped her. That new melody inside her wanted to be heard. It was trying to tell a story. And what was the point of a story if you never shared it with anyone? Emma asked Mrs. Chen when the talent show was. Mrs. Chen said it was in 6 weeks. The first Friday in December. Emma asked how many people usually came. Mrs. Chen said at least 600. Sometimes more, 600 people. Emma felt sick just thinking about it. But then she thought about her melody, about how it made her feel when she played it, about how Sarah cried when she heard it, about what Mrs. Chen just said. This was not like those old concerts. This was not about being blind. This was about the music. Just the music. Emma took a deep breath. Then she said yes. Mrs. Chen was so surprised that she did not speak for a moment. Then she let out a little laugh. She asked if Emma was sure. Emma was not sure at all. But she nodded anyway. Sarah screamed when Emma told her. Right there in the auditorium, Sarah actually screamed with excitement. Then she hugged Emma so hard that Emma almost fell off the piano bench. Sarah said she was proud of her. She said this was going to be amazing. She said everyone was going to love it. Emma hoped Sarah was right. But deep down she was terrified. That night Emma told her parents about her decision. They were eating dinner, chicken and rice and green beans. Emma waited until everyone had food on their plates. Then she just said it. She was going to perform at the school talent show. She had written an original piece. She was going to play it in front of 600 people. Her mother dropped her fork. Her father stopped chewing. They both started talking at once. Her mother wanted to know if Emma was sure. Her father wanted to know if she needed anything. They were both excited and worried at the same time. Emma understood. She felt the same way. Over the next few days, word started to spread around school. Emma was going to perform at the talent show. People Emma had never spoken to started coming up to her in the hallway. Some of them were nice. They said they were excited to hear her play. They said they were sure she would be great. But some people were not nice. Emma heard them talking when they thought she could not hear. They said mean things. They said she was only doing it for attention. They said blind people should not be in talent shows. They said she would probably mess up and embarrass herself. Each mean comment hurt. But Sarah was always there. Sarah would tell those people to shut up. She would defend Emma even when Emma was not around. Emma heard about it from other students. Sarah Chen had become known as the girl who did not let anyone talk bad about Emma. It made Emma love her friend even more. Emma started practicing every single day, not just during lunch. She would stay after school for an hour. She would practice at home before bed. She played her melody so many times that her fingers started to hurt. But she did not stop. She needed it to be perfect. Not for other people. For herself, the melody grew as she practiced. She added new parts. She made some sections longer. She made other sections softer. The song was becoming exactly what she wanted it to be. It was her story. The story of growing up blind in a world made for people who could see. The story of finding music when everything else felt hard. The story of being scared but doing it anyway. Mrs. Anderson came to Emma's house one evening. Emma had not seen her old piano teacher in months. But Mrs. Chen had called her. She told Mrs. Anderson about Emma's new piece. Mrs. Anderson wanted to hear it. Emma played it for her. When she finished, Mrs. Anderson was crying. She told Emma that this was what she had been waiting for. All those years of lessons. All those hours of practice. It was all leading to this moment. Emma had finally found her own voice. 6 weeks suddenly did not feel like enough time. Emma was getting more nervous every day. She would wake up in the middle of the night with her heart beating fast. She would imagine herself on stage. All those people watching. What if she forgot the notes? What if her hands shook too much to play? What if everyone laughed? Sarah kept telling her it would be okay. Mrs. Chen kept saying the same thing. Even Emma's parents tried to reassure her. But Emma could not shake the fear. It sat in her stomach like a rock. 2 weeks before the talent show, Emma had a bad day at school. Some boys in her grade were making fun of her in the hallway. They were imitating her, pretending to walk like they were blind, bumping into walls on purpose. Everyone around them was laughing. Emma heard all of it. She kept walking. She did not let them see her cry. But when she got to the auditorium for lunch, she broke down. Sarah held her while she sobbed. Emma said she could not do the talent show. She said she was stupid for thinking she could. She said everyone was going to laugh at her just like those boys. Sarah let her cry. Then she said something that Emma would never forget. Sarah said that those boys were cruel because they were small inside. They had nothing special about them, so they tried to make other people feel small too. But Emma was not small. Emma was big. Her music was big, and nothing those boys said could change that. Emma stopped crying. She thought about Sarah's words. She thought about her melody. She thought about why she was really doing this. Not for those boys, not even for the people who would clap. She was doing it for herself, because she had something to say, and she was finally brave enough to say it. Emma wiped her face. She sat down at the piano, and she played her melody again, this time with more feeling than ever before. The talent show was now 2 weeks away, and Emma was ready. The next 2 weeks passed both too quickly and too slowly. Emma practiced until her hands ached. She practiced until she could play her melody in her sleep. She practiced until every note was exactly right. But no matter how much she practiced, the fear never fully went away. Mrs. Chen helped Emma prepare in other ways too. She explained how the stage would be set up, where the piano would be, how many steps from the wing to the piano bench. Mrs. Chen walked Emma through it after school one day. She let Emma feel the stage with her hands and feet. She let Emma count the steps. Emma needed to know these things. On the night of the show, everything would be different. The lights would be bright. The audience would be loud. Emma needed to be ready. Sarah helped too. Every day at lunch, she would describe things to Emma. She told her what other students were saying about the talent show. Most people were excited. The talent show was always popular. This year, 20 students had signed up to perform. There would be singers and dancers. There would be a magic act. There would be a comedy group. And there would be Emma. Some students had started calling Emma's performance the secret act. Nobody had heard her new melody except Sarah, Mrs. Chen, and Mrs. Anderson. Emma had kept it that way on purpose. She did not want people to have expectations. She did not want them to judge it before they heard it. She wanted the music to speak for itself. At home, Emma's parents tried to be supportive without being too much. Her mother wanted to invite the whole family to come watch, aunts and uncles and cousins. But Emma said no. She told her mother that she was already nervous enough. Having the whole family there would make it worse. Her mother understood. She promised it would just be her and Emma's father in the audience. Emma's father had a different way of helping. He was not good with emotional talks, but every evening after dinner, he would sit with Emma while she practiced. He never said much. He just listened, and somehow that helped more than words could. When Emma finished playing, her father would nod. He would say it was good, and Emma believed him because her father never lied. 1 week before the talent show, something unexpected happened. A girl named Jessica came up to Emma in the hallway. Jessica was popular. She was pretty and smart, and everyone liked her. She had never spoken to Emma before, not in 3 years of high school. Jessica asked if she could talk to Emma for a minute. Emma said okay. She expected Jessica to say something mean, or maybe to ask her to drop out of the talent show. But that was not what Jessica said. Jessica told Emma that she was also performing in the talent show. She was going to sing. She said she had been practicing for months, but she was terrified. She could not sleep at night. Her hands shook when she thought about it. She told Emma that she heard Emma was performing too, and Jessica wanted to know how Emma was dealing with the fear. Emma was surprised. Jessica seemed so confident all the time. It was strange to think that someone like Jessica could be scared of anything. Emma thought about her answer carefully. Then she told Jessica the truth. She said she was scared too. She said she was scared every single day, but she was doing it anyway. Because sometimes the things that scare you are the things you need to do most. Jessica smiled. She thanked Emma. Then she said something that made Emma feel warm inside. Jessica said she had always thought Emma was brave, not because she was blind, but because she never let it stop her from doing anything. Jessica said she wished she could be more like that. After Jessica walked away, Sarah whispered to Emma. Sarah said that was the first time she had ever heard Jessica be real with someone. Sarah said maybe Emma's courage was already inspiring people. Emma did not know about that, but it felt good to know she was not the only one who was scared. The weekend before the talent show, Mrs. Anderson came to Emma's house again. She brought Mrs. Chen with her. They wanted to hear Emma play her piece one more time. Emma sat at her family's piano in the living room. Her parents sat on the couch. The two teachers stood nearby, and Emma played. This time she did not just play the notes. She let herself feel everything. She thought about all the times kids had made fun of her. She thought about all the times she felt alone. She thought about finding music. She thought about Sarah's friendship. She thought about her parents who never gave up on her. All of those feelings went into the music. When she finished, nobody spoke for a long moment. Then Emma heard someone crying softly. It was her mother. Emma had played for her mother many times over the years. But this was different. This was not just playing. This was Emma opening her heart and letting everyone see inside. Mrs. Anderson spoke first. Her voice was shaky. She said that Emma had created something truly special, something that went beyond skill or talent. Emma had created art, real art, the kind that changes people who hear it. Mrs. Chen agreed. She said she had been teaching music for 15 years. She had seen hundreds of students, but only a few times in her career had she heard something that gave her chills. This was one of those times. She told Emma that no matter what happened at the talent show, she should be proud. She had already accomplished something amazing. Emma's father did not say anything, but he came over and hugged her tight. That told Emma everything she needed to know. Monday morning arrived. It was the week of the talent show. The show was on Friday night. That meant Emma had 5 more days. 5 more days to practice. 5 more days to prepare. 5 more days to be nervous. The school was buzzing with excitement. Posters for the talent show were everywhere. The drama club had made them. They were bright and colorful. Or at least that was what Sarah told her. Emma could feel the energy in the hallways. Students were talking about who they thought would win. The talent show had a voting system. At the end of the night, the audience would vote for their favorite act. The winner would get a trophy and a gift card to the local mall. Emma did not care about winning. She just wanted to get through it without messing up. She wanted to play her piece the way it was meant to be played. That was all. On Tuesday, the school held a mandatory rehearsal. All the performers had to come to the auditorium after classes ended. They would practice on the real stage with the real lights and sound system. Everyone got 15 minutes to run through their act. Emma arrived with Sarah. Mrs. Chen was there organizing everything. She had a clipboard and a stressed voice. Putting on a talent show with 20 acts was not easy. There were sound checks to do, light cues to plan, props to organize. Mrs. Chen was trying to manage it all. Emma was scheduled to perform last. Mrs. Chen thought it would be best. The final act was always the most memorable. Plus, it would give Emma extra time to calm her nerves. Emma was not sure if that was good or bad. Being last meant sitting backstage for the entire show, getting more nervous with each act. When it was finally Emma's turn to rehearse, Mrs. Chen called her name. Sarah walked Emma up the steps to the stage. Emma counted the steps in her head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then she was on the stage. Sarah guided her to the piano. It was a grand piano, much nicer than the old upright in the corner. Emma had never played a grand piano before. She sat down on the bench. She took a breath. Then she found the keys with her fingers. They felt smooth and cool. Perfect. She started to play her melody. But something was wrong. The sound was different. Bigger, louder. It echoed through the huge, empty auditorium. Emma stopped playing. She felt confused. This was not what she was used to. Mrs. Chen came up to the stage. She asked Emma what was wrong. Emma explained that the sound was different. She was used to the small upright piano. This grand piano sounded so much bigger. She was not sure how to adjust. Mrs. Chen was quiet for a moment. Then she asked Emma to trust the piano. She said the grand piano would make Emma's melody sound even better. All Emma had to do was play the way she always played. The piano would do the rest. Emma nodded. She started again. This time she tried not to think about the different sound. She just played. And Mrs. Chen was right. The grand piano made her melody sound beautiful. Rich and full. Like it was meant to be played on this piano all along. When Emma finished, the other performers who were waiting backstage started clapping. Emma had not known they were listening. She felt her face get hot. She was embarrassed. But Sarah squeezed her hand and told her it was good. They were clapping because it was beautiful. Wednesday and Thursday were a blur. Emma went to her classes, but she could not focus. Teachers were talking, but Emma did not hear them. Other students were laughing and joking, but Emma was somewhere else in her mind. She was already on that stage. Already playing for 600 people. Already trying not to mess up. Sarah noticed that Emma was barely eating. At lunch on Thursday, Sarah made Emma eat a full sandwich. She said Emma needed energy for tomorrow night. Emma forced herself to eat even though her stomach felt tight. That night, Emma tried to practice at home, but her hands were shaking. She kept making mistakes. Notes that she had played perfectly 100 times suddenly came out wrong. She was panicking. What if this happened tomorrow? What if her hands shook so much that she could not play at all? Her mother heard her struggling. She came into the living room and sat next to Emma on the piano bench. Her mother did not say anything at first. She just put her hand on Emma's back. Then she spoke quietly. She told Emma that it was okay to be nervous. Being nervous meant that Emma cared. It meant that what she was doing mattered. But her mother also said that Emma needed to remember why she was doing this. Not for other people, for herself. Emma took a deep breath. Her mother was right. She was doing this for herself. Because she had something to say. Because her music deserved to be heard. Because she was tired of being afraid. Emma started playing again. This time her hands did not shake. This time every note was right. Friday morning came too fast. Emma woke up before her alarm. She lay in bed listening to the sounds of her house. Her father was already up making coffee. She could hear the coffee maker bubbling. She could hear him humming to himself. Normal morning sounds, but this was not a normal morning. Emma got ready for school slowly. She picked out her favorite shirt. It was soft and dark blue, or at least, that was what her mother told her when they bought it. Emma liked how it felt against her skin. She wanted to be comfortable tonight. At school, Emma could barely focus on anything. Her teachers must have known about the talent show because they did not call on her in class. Sarah stayed close to her all day. During lunch, they did not go to the auditorium. Instead, they sat outside on a bench. Sarah talked about random things, her weekend plans, a movie she wanted to see. She was trying to distract Emma. Emma appreciated it. The final bell rang at 3 o'clock. The talent show would start at 7. That gave Emma 4 hours. 4 hours to go home. Eat dinner. Get ready. Come back to school. 4 hours until everything changed. Emma's mother picked her up from school. Usually Emma took the bus, but today was special. At home, her mother made Emma's favorite dinner, spaghetti with meatballs. Emma ate more than she thought she could. Her stomach was full of butterflies, but she forced the food down anyway. At 6 o'clock, Emma's family left for the school. Her father drove. Her mother sat in the back with Emma and held her hand. Nobody talked much. Emma was grateful for the quiet. She needed to think. She needed to prepare herself mentally. They arrived at the school at 6:30. The parking lot was already filling up. Emma could hear car doors slamming, families talking, kids running around excited. The whole town seemed to be coming to this talent show. Mrs. Chen met Emma at the auditorium entrance. She took Emma backstage while Emma's parents went to find seats. Backstage was chaos. 20 nervous performers were all getting ready at once. Some were warming up their voices. Some were going over dance moves. Everyone was talking at once. Mrs. Chen found Emma a quiet corner to sit in. Sarah was allowed backstage since she was Emma's helper. Sarah sat next to Emma and described what was happening. The stage crew was doing final light checks. The sound guy was testing microphones. The other performers were putting on makeup and costumes. Emma just sat quietly. She had her hands folded in her lap. She was breathing slowly. In and out. In and out. She was trying to stay calm. She had done everything she could to prepare. Now she just had to trust herself. At exactly 7 o'clock, the lights in the auditorium dimmed. Emma could hear the audience getting quiet. The show was starting. Principal Morrison came out to welcome everyone. He thanked them for coming. He said the school was proud of all the performers. Then he introduced the first act. The show began. Emma sat backstage listening to each performance through the curtain. First was a group of girls singing a pop song. They were good. The audience clapped loudly. Then came a boy doing a comedy routine. He was funny. People laughed. Then a dance group. Then someone playing guitar. Then Jessica singing. Her voice was beautiful. Emma was happy for her. Act after act after act. Emma lost count. She was too nervous to focus. Her hands were cold. Her heart was beating fast. She kept going over her melody in her head, making sure she remembered every note, every pause, every detail. Finally, after what felt like hours, Mrs. Chen appeared at Emma's side. She whispered that Emma was next. The second to last act was finishing up. It was almost time. Sarah helped Emma stand up. Emma's legs felt weak. Sarah walked her to the stage entrance. They stood in the wing waiting. Emma could hear the current act ending. The audience was clapping. Then Principal Morrison's voice came over the microphone again. He said that the final performance of the evening was very special. He said they had a talented young pianist who had composed an original piece. He asked the audience to give a warm welcome to Emma Matthews. The audience started clapping. Sarah squeezed Emma's hand one more time. She whispered that Emma could do this. Then Sarah gently guided Emma onto the stage. The walk to the piano felt like it took forever. Emma counted her steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She could feel the heat from the stage lights. She could hear the audience. 600 people. All of them watching her. All of them waiting. Emma reached the piano bench. She sat down. She placed her hands on her lap. She took one more deep breath. This was it. This was the moment she had been preparing for. The moment she had been dreading and wanting at the same time. Her fingers found the keys. And the whole auditorium went completely silent. Emma's fingers rested on the piano keys. The auditorium was so quiet she could hear someone cough 3 rows back. She could hear the hum of the stage lights above her. She could hear her own heartbeat pounding in her ears. 600 people were waiting. All of them watching the blind girl at the piano. Wondering what she would do. Wondering if she could really play. For a moment, Emma froze. Her mind went blank. What if she forgot how to start? What if her hands would not move? What if this was all a terrible mistake? Then she remembered something Mrs. Anderson had told her years ago. Music is not about the notes on the page. It is about the feeling in your heart. Just feel and your hands will know what to do. Emma closed her eyes. Not that it made any difference since she could not see anyway. But closing her eyes helped her focus. She thought about why she wrote this melody. She thought about her story. About growing up different. About finding beauty in darkness. About being afraid but doing it anyway. Her right hand moved first. One single note, soft, almost a whisper. The sound floated through the silent auditorium like a question being asked. Then her left hand joined in. 2 notes together. Gentle, careful, like footsteps in the dark. The melody began. Emma's hands moved across the keys, slowly at first. The beginning of her piece was meant to sound uncertain, like a child learning to walk. The notes were simple but full of emotion. They spoke of confusion, of not understanding why the world looked different to everyone else, of reaching out and not being able to see what you were reaching for. In the audience, Emma's mother squeezed her husband's hand. She recognized this part of the melody. Emma had played it at home many times, but hearing it here in this big auditorium with all these people listening made it feel different, more powerful, more real. Sarah stood in the wing watching Emma play. She had heard this melody dozens of times during lunch periods, but tonight it sounded new. Like Emma was telling the story for the first time. Sarah felt tears already forming in her eyes. The melody continued. Emma's left hand began to play a steady rhythm. Like a heartbeat, her right hand danced above it with notes that grew slightly faster, slightly more confident. This part of the piece represented Emma learning that she could do things. That being blind did not mean being helpless. It was the part where little Emma first discovered the piano. First realized that her ears could be her eyes. Mrs. Chen stood at the back of the auditorium. She was supposed to be managing the show, making sure everything ran smoothly. But she had stopped working. She stood completely still, listening. She had heard Emma play this piece during rehearsals. But this was different. Emma was not just playing notes anymore. She was sharing her soul. The melody shifted, both hands now working together. The notes came faster. There was tension in the music, conflict. This was the hard part of Emma's story. The part about going to school, about hearing whispers, about mean comments, about feeling alone even in a room full of people. The music became more aggressive, louder. Emma's hands pressed the keys harder. Her body swayed slightly as she played. Some students in the audience shifted uncomfortably in their seats. They heard the anger in the music. Some of them realized with shame that they had been part of this anger. They had whispered about Emma. They had made jokes. They had treated her like she was less than them. The music was making them face what they had done. One of those students was Marcus. He was a junior. He had made fun of Emma just last week. He and his friends had laughed about her in the hallway. Now, sitting in the auditorium listening to her music, Marcus felt sick. He had never thought about how his words might hurt. He never thought about Emma as a real person with real feelings. She was just the blind girl to him. But this music was showing him the truth. Emma was not just a blind girl. She was a person he had hurt. The melody climbed higher on the keys. The notes became sharp, almost painful to hear. This was the climax of the difficult part. This was Emma playing about the worst moments. The times she cried alone in her room. The times she wanted to give up. The times she wondered why she had to be different. Emma's mother was crying now. She tried to cry quietly so she would not disturb anyone, but tears were streaming down her face. She remembered all those nights she heard Emma crying through her bedroom door. All those times she felt helpless as a parent. All she could do was hold her daughter and tell her it would be okay. But sometimes it did not feel okay. Sometimes it felt impossible. Then suddenly the music changed. The aggressive notes softened. The tension began to release. Emma's hands slowed down. The melody became gentler, sweeter. This was the turning point in her story. This was when Emma found hope. When she realized that being different did not mean being broken. When she understood that her blindness was part of her, not all of her. The right hand played a simple melody now. Almost like a lullaby. It was beautiful and sad at the same time. The left hand supported it with soft chords. Together they created something that felt like acceptance, like peace, like coming home after a long journey. Sarah was openly crying now. She did not bother to wipe her tears. She just let them fall. This part of the music was about friendship, about people who saw Emma for who she really was. Sarah knew she was part of this story. She was part of what helped Emma find hope. And that made her heart feel so full it might burst. The melody continued to build. But this time it was not building toward anger or pain. It was building toward joy. The notes came faster again, but they were lighter, happier. Emma's fingers flew across the keys with confidence, with freedom. This was Emma playing about music itself, about discovering that she had a gift, about realizing that her difference gave her something special. Principal Morrison stood near the back door. He had been principal of Riverside High for 20 years. He had seen hundreds of talent shows, thousands of performances, but he had never heard anything like this. This was not a high school talent show anymore. This was art, real art, the kind that made you forget where you were, the kind that made you feel things you did not know you could feel. The melody reached its peak, both hands working together in perfect harmony, playing complex patterns that somehow sounded simple and natural. The music filled every corner of the auditorium. It wrapped around every person there. It made them feel what Emma felt, made them see what Emma could not see, made them understand what Emma wanted them to understand. Jessica sat in the audience 3 rows from the front. She had performed her song earlier. She thought she had done well. The audience had clapped nicely. But now, listening to Emma, Jessica realized what real performance meant. It was not about having a pretty voice or hitting the right notes. It was about truth. Emma was playing her truth, and it was more powerful than anything Jessica had ever done. The melody began to slow. Emma's hands moved more gently now. The piece was coming to its conclusion, but it was not a sad ending. It was a hopeful one. The notes became simpler again, like the beginning, but they were different now. They were not uncertain anymore. They were calm, content. Sure. This final part of the melody was about Emma accepting herself, about understanding that her journey was hard but it made her who she was, about being grateful for the people who loved her, about being ready to share her gift with the world. Emma's mother had stopped crying. She was smiling now. She could hear the hope in this final section. She could hear her daughter's strength. All those years of worry, all those nights of prayer, they had led to this moment. To Emma sitting on a stage, sharing her story, showing everyone that she was not broken. She was beautiful. The melody resolved with a series of gentle chords. Emma's hands moved slowly, carefully, Each note clear and pure. She was bringing the piece home. Bringing the story to its natural end, the final chord was simple. Just 3 notes played together. Emma held them. Let them ring out. Let them fill the space. The sound seemed to last forever, floating through the air, touching every person there. Then Emma's hands lifted from the keys. The sound faded slowly, getting quieter and quieter until it disappeared completely, and then there was silence. Complete and total silence. Emma sat very still on the piano bench. She did not know what to do. She had finished playing, but no one was making any sound. No one was clapping. No one was moving. Had something gone wrong? Had she made a mistake? Had it been terrible? The silence continued. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. It felt like an eternity. Emma's heart sank. She had failed. Everyone hated it. They were sitting there in shock at how bad it was. She wanted to run off the stage. She wanted to disappear. Then Emma heard something. A single clap, sharp and clear. Then another. Then another. Then suddenly the entire auditorium exploded with sound. People were clapping. No, not just clapping. They were applauding loudly. Enthusiastically, the sound was deafening. Emma had never heard anything so loud in her life. It was like a wave crashing over her. But it was more than just clapping. Emma heard movement, rustling. People were standing up. She could hear chairs pushing back, feet shuffling. They were giving her a standing ovation. All 600 people. Emma sat frozen at the piano bench. She could not believe what was happening. People were cheering now. Some were shouting. She heard someone yell, "Bravo!" She heard someone else whistle. The applause went on and on. It did not stop. In the audience, Emma's father had tears streaming down his face. He was not a man who cried often, but he could not help it. His daughter had just done something incredible, something he would remember for the rest of his life. He clapped until his hands hurt, and still he kept clapping. Marcus, the boy who had made fun of Emma last week, was standing and clapping harder than anyone around him. His face was red. He was crying too. He did not care who saw. That music had broken something inside him, some hard shell that had been protecting his heart. He wanted to find Emma after the show. He wanted to apologize. He wanted to tell her he was sorry for being so cruel. Sarah ran onto the stage. She did not ask permission. She just ran to Emma and wrapped her arms around her friend. Sarah was sobbing. She whispered in Emma's ear. She told Emma that everyone was standing. Every single person. She told Emma it was the most beautiful thing she had ever heard. She told Emma that she was proud to be her friend. The applause continued. It went on for so long that Principal Morrison did not try to stop it. He just let it happen. This was a moment that none of these students would forget. This was something special. Mrs. Chen was crying and clapping at the same time. She had believed in Emma. She had known Emma had something special. But even she had not expected this. This was beyond what she imagined. Emma had not just played music. She had created an experience. She had moved hundreds of people. She had changed them. Finally, after what felt like forever, the applause began to die down. People started to sit back down, but they were still talking, buzzing with energy, looking at each other with wide eyes. What did we just hear? That was incredible. Did you hear that? I have never heard anything like that. Sarah helped Emma stand up. She guided her off the stage. Emma's legs felt like jelly. She could barely walk. Everything felt like a dream. A wonderful, terrifying, amazing dream. Backstage was chaos. The other performers surrounded Emma. They were all talking at once, congratulating her, telling her it was beautiful, telling her she was amazing. Emma could not process it all. There were too many voices, too much happening. Mrs. Chen rescued her. She gently moved the other students aside and led Emma to a quiet corner. She asked Emma if she was okay. Emma nodded, but she was shaking. Her whole body was shaking. Mrs. Chen hugged her. She told Emma that what she just did was extraordinary. She told Emma she should be proud. There was still one more performer after Emma, a boy doing a magic act. He went on stage and did his tricks. He was good. The audience clapped. But everyone knew that the talent show was already over. Emma had won before the votes were even counted. When the show ended, Principal Morrison announced that there would be a short break while the votes were tallied. The audience could get up and stretch, get some refreshments, talk about what they had seen. Emma's parents came backstage. They found Emma sitting in her quiet corner. Her mother hugged her so tight Emma could barely breathe. Her father kissed the top of her head. They did not need to say anything. Emma could feel their pride. It radiated from them like heat. Other parents approached Emma too. Strangers. They wanted to shake her hand. They wanted to tell her how much her music moved them. They wanted to thank her for sharing her gift. Emma was overwhelmed. She had never had this much attention in her life. Sarah stayed close by, protecting Emma from being completely overwhelmed. She would step in when it got to be too much. She would give Emma a moment to breathe. After 15 minutes, Principal Morrison called everyone back to their seats. The votes had been counted. It was time to announce the winners. Emma sat backstage holding Sarah's hand. She was still shaking, still trying to process everything that had happened. Part of her wanted to win, but another part of her did not care. She had already won. She had played her music. She had told her story. And people had listened. Really listened. That was enough. Principal Morrison took the microphone. He said that all the performers tonight were talented. He said the judges had a very hard time choosing. Then he announced third place. It was the dance group. They cheered and went up to accept their trophy. Then he announced second place. It was Jessica. She looked surprised and happy. She went up on stage to accept her trophy. As she walked by Emma backstage, she stopped. She bent down and whispered, "Thank you." Then she continued on. Emma's heart was pounding. This was it. Either she won or she did not. Either way, her life had already changed tonight. Principal Morrison smiled at the audience. He said that the first place winner was obvious. He said that everyone in this auditorium had just witnessed something special. Something they would talk about for years to come. Then he said Emma's name. The auditorium erupted in applause again, even louder than before. Sarah screamed and hugged Emma. Mrs. Chen appeared and helped Emma stand up. They walked Emma out onto the stage one more time. The audience stood again. Everyone, clapping and cheering. Emma stood on the stage holding her trophy. She could not see any of them, but she could feel them. She could feel their appreciation, their respect, their love. For the first time in her life, Emma did not feel like the blind girl. She felt like Emma, just Emma, a girl who played piano, a girl who had something to say, a girl who was finally brave enough to say it. The weekend after the talent show felt like living in a different world. Emma woke up Saturday morning to the sound of her phone buzzing constantly. She had messages from people she had never talked to before. Students from school, even students from other schools who had been at the talent show. Everyone wanted to tell her how amazing she was, how her music made them cry, how they would never forget it. Emma did not know how to respond to all of it. She was not used to attention. For most of her life, people either ignored her or treated her like she was fragile. Now suddenly everyone wanted to talk to her. It was overwhelming in a good way, but still overwhelming. Her mother made her favorite breakfast, pancakes with strawberries. They sat at the kitchen table together. Her father had already left for work, but he had left Emma a note. Her mother read it to her. The note said he was proud of her, that he always knew she was special, that watching her perform was one of the best moments of his life. Emma smiled. Her father was not good with words usually, but this note was perfect. Sarah came over around noon. She brought her laptop. She told Emma that someone had recorded the talent show on their phone. They had posted Emma's performance online. Emma felt her stomach drop. She asked how many people had seen it. Sarah was quiet for a moment. Then she said over 5,000 people. In less than 24 hours, Emma did not know what to think about that. 5,000 strangers had watched her play. People she would never meet. People all over the world. Were they judging her? Were they making fun of her? Sarah quickly told her to stop worrying. She said the comments were all positive. People were calling Emma's performance beautiful, moving, inspiring. Some people were asking what the name of the piece was. Others were asking if they could buy a recording. Emma had not thought about any of that. She had not named her melody. She had not thought about recording it. She had just wanted to play it once, to get it out of her system, to prove to herself that she could. Now people wanted more. That afternoon, Mrs. Chen called. She asked if Emma and her parents could come to her house for tea. She said she wanted to discuss something important. Emma's mother agreed. They went over to Mrs. Chen's house around 3 o'clock. Mrs. Chen's house smelled like jasmine. She had a piano in her living room, a beautiful grand piano. Emma could tell it was expensive just from the sound it made when Mrs. Chen played a few notes to demonstrate it. They all sat down in the living room. Mrs. Chen poured tea for everyone. Then Mrs. Chen got serious. She said that Emma's performance had caused quite a reaction. Not just at school, not just online. Mrs. Chen had received phone calls from the local newspaper, from the radio station, even from a talent scout who worked with young musicians. Everyone wanted to talk to Emma. Everyone wanted to know more about her and her music. Emma's mother looked worried. She asked what all this meant. Mrs. Chen was honest. She said it meant that Emma had a real opportunity. If Emma wanted it, she could develop her music career. She could perform at real concerts. She could record her compositions. She could go to music school. The doors were opening for her, but Mrs. Chen also warned them. She said that fame, even small fame, could be difficult, especially for a teenager, especially for someone who valued privacy. Emma would have to make a choice. Did she want to share her music with the world? Or did she want to keep it private and just play for herself? Emma sat quietly. She had not expected any of this. She thought the talent show would be the end of it. One performance, one moment of bravery, then back to normal life. But nothing was going back to normal. Her mother asked Emma what she wanted. Emma said she did not know. She needed time to think about it. Mrs. Chen said that was smart. She told Emma not to rush into any decisions, to take her time, to think about what would make her happy. They left Mrs. Chen's house an hour later. On the drive home, Emma's mother asked her what she was feeling. Emma tried to explain. She said that part of her was excited. The idea of sharing her music with more people, of creating more compositions, of maybe helping other people the way her music seemed to help the people at the talent show. That part was exciting, but another part of her was scared. She liked her quiet life. She liked spending lunch periods in the empty auditorium with Sarah. She liked being able to walk through school without everyone staring at her. If she said yes to all these opportunities, would she lose that? Would she become someone she did not want to be? Her mother listened. Then she said something wise. She said that Emma did not have to decide everything right now. She could say yes to the small things and see how they felt. She could do one interview, one small concert, one recording, and if she did not like it, she could stop. She did not owe anyone anything. That made Emma feel better. She did not have to commit to a whole career right now. She could just take things one step at a time. Monday at school was strange. Emma was used to walking through the hallways and being mostly invisible. Sometimes people would stare at her because she was blind, but mostly they just ignored her. Today was completely different. People called out to her. They wanted to high-five her. They wanted to tell her they were at the talent show. They wanted to be her friend. Some of it felt genuine. Some of it felt fake. Emma could tell the difference. Some people were being nice because they really appreciated her music. Others were being nice because she was suddenly popular, and they wanted to be associated with her. That felt gross. Sarah helped her navigate all of it. Sarah had always been good at reading people. She would tell Emma who was being real and who was being fake. She would steer Emma away from the students who just wanted to use her for social points. At lunch, Emma and Sarah went to their usual spot in the auditorium. But they were not alone. 3 other students had followed them. Emma recognized their voices. One was Jessica. One was Marcus, the boy who had made fun of her before. And one was a girl named Lily who Emma had never spoken to. Jessica asked if they could sit with Emma and Sarah. Sarah looked at Emma, letting her decide. Emma thought about it. Then she said yes. The 5 of them sat together. It was quiet at first, awkward. Then Jessica spoke. She thanked Emma again for inspiring her. She said that watching Emma perform made her realize what real courage looked like. She said she wanted to be braver in her own life. Then Marcus spoke. His voice was shaky. He apologized to Emma. He said he had made fun of her. He said he was ashamed of himself. He said her music made him realize how wrong he had been. How cruel. He asked if Emma could forgive him. Emma was quiet for a moment. Part of her wanted to stay angry at Marcus. He had hurt her. Many times. But another part of her understood that people could change. Her music had changed him. She could hear it in his voice. So she said yes. She forgave him. But she also told him that he needed to think before he spoke, that his words had power, that he could choose to use that power to hurt people or to help them. Marcus promised he would do better. He sounded like he meant it. Lily spoke last. She said she had been bullied too, not for being blind, but for being overweight. She said kids had made fun of her for years. She said Emma's music made her feel less alone. It made her realize that everyone had pain. Everyone had struggles. And that was okay. That was part of being human. The 5 of them talked for the whole lunch period. By the end, Emma felt like she had 3 new friends. Real friends. Not people who wanted something from her. Just people who understood her. That week, Emma agreed to do one interview. It was for the local newspaper. A reporter named Ms. Johnson came to Emma's house on Wednesday afternoon. She was kind. She asked gentle questions. She wanted to know about Emma's life. About her music. About the talent show. Emma answered honestly. She talked about being blind. About finding piano when she was little. About writing her melody. About being scared to perform. Ms. Johnson listened carefully. She did not treat Emma like she was special because she was blind. She treated her like she was special because she was talented. The article came out in Saturday's paper. Sarah read it to Emma over the phone. It was beautiful. Ms. Johnson had captured Emma's story perfectly. She wrote about Emma's courage, her talent, her heart, but she also wrote about the bigger picture, about how art can bring people together, about how one person's vulnerability can help others feel less alone. The article ended with a quote from Emma. Emma had said that music was her way of turning pain into something beautiful. That everyone had pain, but not everyone had a way to transform it. She was grateful that she had found her way. After the article came out, more opportunities came. A local concert hall asked if Emma would perform at their youth showcase next month. A music teacher from the university asked if Emma would consider taking advanced lessons. A small record label asked if Emma wanted to record her melody professionally. Emma talked about each opportunity with her parents and Mrs. Chen. Together, they decided which ones to say yes to. Emma agreed to the concert at the local hall. It was small and community-focused. It felt safe. She agreed to the advanced lessons. She wanted to keep learning. She wanted to get better. But she said no to the record label. That felt too big. Too soon, maybe someday. But not yet. The weeks after the talent show changed Emma's life in other ways too. Teachers treated her differently. They asked her to share her thoughts more in class. They seemed to value her opinions in a new way. Emma was not sure how she felt about that. She had always had thoughts and opinions. Why did they only matter now? But some changes were good. The school started a music club. Mrs. Chen asked Emma to help lead it. Students who wanted to write their own music could come and share. Emma could give feedback. She could help them develop their ideas. Emma loved this. She loved helping other people find their voice the way she found hers. Sarah was happy that Emma was getting recognition. But Sarah also made sure Emma did not forget who she was. Sarah would remind Emma to take breaks, to not let all the attention go to her head, to remember that she was still just Emma, still the same girl who ate lunch in the auditorium, still the same girl who loved bad jokes and strawberry ice cream. One day, about a month after the talent show, Emma was practicing in the auditorium during lunch. She was working on a new melody, something different from the first one. This one was lighter, happier. It was about friendship, about the people who had supported her. She was so focused on playing that she did not hear someone come in. When she finished the section she was working on, she heard clapping. She turned toward the sound. A voice she did not recognize said hello. The voice belonged to a man. He introduced himself as David Park. He said he was a professor at the State Music College. He had seen the video of Emma's performance online. He had read the newspaper article. He wanted to meet her in person. Sarah had been doing homework in the front row. She stood up, protective of Emma. She asked what he wanted. Mr. Park said he just wanted to talk. He asked if Emma had ever thought about studying music in college. Emma admitted she had not really thought that far ahead. She was only 15. College was still years away. Mr. Park said he understood, but he wanted Emma to know that she had options. The music college had a program for exceptional students. They could start taking college classes while still in high school. They could work with professional composers. They could develop their skills in ways that regular high school could not offer. He gave Emma his business card. He told her to think about it, to talk to her parents, and if she was interested, to reach out. He said that talent like Emma's was rare. It should be nurtured. It should be developed. He did not want Emma to miss opportunities because she did not know they existed. After Mr. Park left, Emma sat at the piano bench thinking. Sarah asked her what she was going to do. Emma said she did not know. Everything was happening so fast. A few months ago, she was just a girl who played piano during lunch. Now people were talking about her future, about college programs, about careers in music. Sarah asked Emma a simple question. Are you happy? Emma thought about it. Then she smiled. Yes, she was happy. Nervous and overwhelmed sometimes. But happy. She was finally sharing her music. She was finally being seen for who she really was. Not as the blind girl, not as someone to pity, but as Emma, as a musician, as an artist. That weekend, Emma played her melody for her grandmother. Her grandmother lived in a nursing home across town. Emma visited her once a month. She had not seen her grandmother since before the talent show. Her grandmother did not have internet. She had not seen the video. She had not read the article. She did not know what had happened. Emma's mother had brought a keyboard. They set it up in the common room of the nursing home. Emma's grandmother sat in her wheelchair smiling. She loved when Emma played for her. Emma started her melody. As she played, other residents began to gather. They heard the music and came to listen. When Emma finished, there was that same silence. That same moment of people processing what they had just heard. Then the applause, not as loud as the talent show. These were elderly people with weak hands, but the appreciation was just as real. Emma's grandmother had tears in her eyes. She took Emma's hand. She said that Emma had a gift. She said she had always known Emma was special, even when Emma was a baby, even before they knew Emma was blind. There was something different about her, something bright. Now everyone else could see it too. On the drive home, Emma was quiet. She was thinking about everything that had happened in the past month. The talent show, the attention, the opportunities, the new friends, the changes. Her mother asked her what she was thinking about. Emma said she was thinking about the future. A month ago, she did not know what her future looked like. Now she could see possibilities. She could imagine herself playing music for people, teaching other students, maybe even composing music professionally someday. But she was also thinking about the present, about not letting the future make her forget to enjoy right now, about staying grounded, about remembering who she was and where she came from. Her mother said that sounded very wise. Emma laughed. She said she learned it from her mother. That night, Emma lay in bed, unable to sleep. She was thinking about her melody, about how it had started as just notes in her head, how it had become something real, something that touched people, something that changed things. She thought about all the people who had helped her, her parents who never gave up on her, Mrs. Anderson who taught her to love music, Mrs. Chen who pushed her to perform, Sarah who stood by her through everything. She thought about the students at school who had bullied her, how some of them had apologized, how others had just started being nicer. She had not changed. She was still blind. She was still Emma. But something had shifted. People saw her differently now, or maybe Emma thought they finally saw her at all. 3 months had passed since the talent show. Winter had arrived. Snow covered the ground outside Riverside High School. Emma walked through the hallways with her cane, counting steps like she always did. But everything felt different now. Not in the building. The building was the same, but in how people treated her. Students still said hello, but it was different now. Before they said hello out of politeness or pity. Now they said hello because they actually knew who she was. They had seen her perform. They had heard her story. She was not just the blind girl anymore. She was Emma the musician. Emma the composer. Just Emma. The concert at the local hall had happened 2 weeks ago. Emma had been nervous again, but not as nervous as the talent show. She knew what to expect now. She knew that moment of silence after she played, that moment before the applause. She had learned not to panic during that silence. It just meant people needed time to feel what they had heard. The concert had been smaller than the talent show, only about 200 people. But it had gone well. She played her original melody. She also played 2 new pieces she had been working on. One was the friendship piece she had started in the auditorium. The other was a holiday piece her mother had requested, something joyful and warm for winter. After the concert, people had come up to her. An older woman had held Emma's hand and cried. She said Emma's music reminded her of her late husband. He had loved piano too. Another person had asked Emma if she gave lessons. A young girl, maybe 10 years old, told Emma she wanted to learn piano because of her. That had made Emma smile for days. Today was Friday. Emma sat in the auditorium during lunch like always. Sarah sat next to her eating a sandwich. They were not alone anymore during lunch. Their group had grown. Jessica came most days. Marcus came sometimes. Lily came whenever she did not have math tutoring. A few other students had started joining too. The auditorium had become their spot, their safe place to just be themselves. Emma was not playing today. She was just sitting and listening to everyone talk. Jessica was telling a story about her chemistry class. Marcus was laughing. Lily was asking questions. It felt normal. It felt like friendship. Real friendship. Not based on pity or popularity. Just people who liked each other. Mrs. Chen appeared in the auditorium. She looked excited about something. She called Emma over. Emma excused herself and walked to where Mrs. Chen was standing. Mrs. Chen told her that she just got a phone call. The regional music competition was in 2 months. They wanted to invite Emma to compete. Emma's heart jumped. The regional competition was a big deal. Winners could go on to the state competition, even national competition. Professional musicians served as judges. It could lead to scholarships, to real opportunities, but it was also intense. The other competitors would be serious musicians. Some of them had been training for years specifically for competitions like this. Mrs. Chen said Emma did not have to decide right now. She could think about it, talk to her parents. But Mrs. Chen thought Emma should do it, not to win, but to experience it, to see what that world was like. To test herself against other talented musicians, Emma said she would think about it. Mrs. Chen hugged her and left. Emma walked back to her friends. She told them about the competition. They all got excited. Sarah said Emma should definitely do it. Jessica agreed. Even Marcus, who knew nothing about music competitions, said it sounded cool, but Emma was not sure. Competing felt different from performing. Performing was about sharing her music, about connecting with people. Competing was about being better than someone else, about winning. Emma did not know if she wanted that. That evening, Emma talked to her parents about it. They sat in the living room after dinner. Emma explained what Mrs. Chen had told her. She explained her concerns. Her father listened quietly. Then he asked Emma a question. What would she regret more, doing it and losing, or not doing it at all? Emma thought about that. She realized her father was right. If she did not do it, she would always wonder. What if she had tried? What if she had been good enough? Better to try and fail than to never try at all. So Emma decided to enter the competition. The next 2 months were intense. Emma practiced more than she ever had. Mrs. Chen helped her prepare. They worked on technical skills, on presentation, on choosing the right pieces to perform. Emma would perform 3 pieces at the competition. Her original melody, a classical piece by Debussy, and a modern piece by a living composer. Mrs. Anderson came by once a week to help too. She worked with Emma on the classical piece. Debussy was complicated. The timing was tricky. The emotion had to be just right. Mrs. Anderson was patient. She would play sections for Emma, let Emma hear the nuances. Then Emma would try to recreate them in her own way. Emma's mother worried that Emma was practicing too much. Emma's hands were getting tired. Her back hurt from sitting at the piano for so long. But Emma insisted she was fine. She needed to be ready. She needed to be as good as she could be. Sarah noticed that Emma was stressed. One day at lunch, Sarah told Emma to take a break. Emma said she could not. She had too much to practice. Sarah said that was exactly why she needed a break. Emma's brain needed rest. Her body needed rest. Pushing too hard would only make things worse. Emma knew Sarah was right. She agreed to take that weekend off from practicing. Instead, Emma and Sarah did normal teenage things. They went to the mall. They got ice cream even though it was winter. They watched a movie at Sarah's house. Emma did not think about piano or competition or pressure. She just enjoyed being a regular 15-year-old girl. Monday came and Emma felt refreshed. She practiced that day with new energy. The pieces sounded better. Her hands moved more smoothly. Taking a break had helped. The competition was on a Saturday in late February. It was being held at a concert hall 2 hours away from Emma's town. Emma's parents drove her. Mrs. Chen came too. Sarah begged her aunt to let her come and Mrs. Chen said yes. They all piled into Emma's father's car early in the morning. Emma was quiet during the drive. She was nervous but calm. She had done everything she could to prepare. Now she just had to trust herself, trust her hands, trust her music. When they arrived at the concert hall, Emma could tell it was fancy. She could hear the echo of their footsteps on marble floors. She could smell expensive wood polish. This was a serious place, a professional place. Mrs. Chen checked Emma in at the registration table. The woman working there gave Emma a number. She was contestant 15. There were 20 contestants total. Emma would perform in the middle of the day. That was good. Not too early when judges were fresh and critical. Not too late when everyone was tired. Right in the middle. They found the waiting area for performers. Other contestants were there with their parents and teachers. Emma could hear them warming up, playing scales, running through difficult passages. Everyone sounded good, really good. Emma felt a flutter of doubt. Maybe she was not ready. Maybe she did not belong here. Sarah must have sensed Emma's fear. She squeezed Emma's hand. She whispered that Emma was exactly where she was supposed to be, that her music was just as good as anyone else's here. Better even. Because Emma's music had heart. The competition started at 9 in the morning. Emma and her group went into the auditorium to listen to some of the other performers. They wanted to get a sense of the competition. The first contestant was a boy about Emma's age. He played Rachmaninoff. He was technically perfect. Every note was exact. Every dynamic was precise. But something was missing. It felt mechanical, like he was playing to impress rather than to express. The second contestant was a girl, maybe 17 or 18. She played Chopin. She was beautiful, emotional. Her playing made Emma feel things. That was what music should do. Emma thought this girl might win. They listened to a few more performers. All of them were talented. Some were technical. Some were emotional. Some were both. Emma was getting more nervous with each performance. These people were serious musicians. Emma was just a high school student who wrote a melody for a talent show. Mrs. Chen must have noticed Emma's anxiety. During a break, she pulled Emma aside. She reminded Emma why they were here. Not to prove anything to these judges. Not to beat these other pianists. They were here for Emma to experience competition. To see if this was a world she wanted to be part of. To learn and grow. That was all. Emma took a deep breath. Mrs. Chen was right. She did not need to win. She just needed to play her best and see what happened. Emma's number was called just after lunch. It was time. Sarah walked Emma backstage. The stage manager asked if Emma needed any assistance getting to the piano. Emma politely said no. She had counted the steps during the break. She knew exactly where to go. The announcer called Emma's name. Emma Matthews, 15 years old, Riverside High School, performing 3 pieces including an original composition. Emma heard polite applause from the audience, then silence. She walked onto the stage, 12 steps to the piano. She had it memorized. She sat down at the bench. She adjusted her position slightly. She placed her hands on her lap. She took a breath. Then she began. Her first piece was the Debussy. It was delicate and dreamy. Her hands moved across the keys like water. She had practiced this piece 100 times. Her fingers knew where to go. She let the music flow through her without thinking too hard. When she finished, there was polite applause. Professional, appreciative, but not enthusiastic. Her second piece was the modern composition. It was aggressive and complex. Lots of fast notes. Lots of dramatic dynamics. This was the piece that would show her technical skill. Emma attacked the keys with precision. Her hands moved faster than they ever had. The piece built to a climax and then resolved suddenly. More applause. Slightly more enthusiastic this time. Then came her original melody, the piece that had started everything. Emma paused before beginning. She thought about why she wrote this music, about what it meant to her, about the story she wanted to tell. Then her fingers found the keys. The melody began soft and uncertain like always. Emma played it the way she had played it at the talent show, the way she had played it at the concert, with complete honesty, with her whole heart. She was not thinking about the judges. She was not thinking about winning. She was just playing her truth. The piece built through its familiar journey, uncertainty to struggle to hope to joy to acceptance. Emma's body swayed as she played. Her face showed every emotion the music contained. She was not performing anymore. She was sharing, giving a piece of herself to everyone listening. The final chord rang out. Emma held it, let it fade naturally, then lifted her hands. The silence came. That familiar silence. Emma waited for the polite applause, but then something unexpected happened. One judge started clapping, then another, then another. Then the whole audience joined in. It was not polite applause anymore. It was real, enthusiastic. Some people were standing up. Not everyone, but some. Emma stood and bowed like Mrs. Chen had taught her. Then she walked off stage. 12 steps. Sarah was waiting in the wing. She grabbed Emma and hugged her tight. Sarah said that was incredible. That some of the judges were crying. That Emma had just done something special. The rest of the competition continued. Emma listened to the remaining 5 performers. All of them were good. But Emma was not worried anymore about comparing herself to them. She had done what she came to do. She had played her best. She had told her story. That was enough. The judges deliberated for an hour after all the performances were done. Everyone waited in the auditorium. Emma sat with her parents and Sarah and Mrs. Chen. They talked quietly. Emma's father said he was proud of her no matter what happened. Emma's mother agreed. Mrs. Chen said Emma had represented their school beautifully. Finally, the head judge took the stage to announce the winners. 3rd place went to a boy who played Bach. 2nd place went to the girl who played Chopin. Emma had thought she might win. She was very good. Then the judge paused. He said that 1st place was difficult to choose this year. Many talented musicians had competed, but one performance stood out. Not just for technical skill, but for emotional depth, for originality, for the courage to share something personal and real. The judge announced Emma's name. Emma sat frozen. She had won. She had actually won. Sarah screamed. Emma's mother started crying. Mrs. Chen was laughing and clapping. Emma's father put his hand on Emma's shoulder and squeezed. Sarah helped Emma walk to the stage. The judge handed her a trophy. A big one, much bigger than the talent show trophy. He shook her hand. He told her that her original composition was extraordinary, that she had a real future in music if she wanted it, that he hoped to hear more from her. Emma said thank you. Her voice was shaky. She was overwhelmed. She had entered this competition just to see if she belonged in this world. And now she had won. She had proven that she did belong, not as the blind girl who could play, but as a musician, a real musician. On the drive home, Emma held her trophy in her lap. She ran her fingers over it, feeling its shape, its weight, its significance. This was proof that her music mattered, proof that she had something valuable to share with the world. Sarah asked Emma how she felt. Emma thought about it. Then she smiled. She said she felt like she was exactly where she was supposed to be, like her whole life had been leading to this moment. Not the winning, but the journey, the growth, the courage to try. Mrs. Chen asked Emma what she wanted to do next. Emma said she did not know. Maybe college, maybe more competitions, maybe just keep composing and see where it led. She did not need to have it all figured out right now. She was only 15. She had time. But one thing Emma knew for sure. She would keep playing. She would keep creating. She would keep sharing her music with anyone who wanted to listen. Because that was who she was now. Not the blind girl. Not the girl who won a competition. Just Emma. A musician with stories to tell and melodies to share. When they got home, Emma's parents put the trophy on the mantel in the living room. Right next to her talent show trophy. Emma could not see them. But she knew they were there. Symbols of her journey, symbols of her courage, symbols of what happens when you stop hiding and start sharing your truth. That night, Emma sat at her piano at home. She was tired from the long day, but she wanted to play. Not practice, not prepare for anything, just play. She started improvising, letting her fingers wander wherever they wanted to go. New melodies emerged, new ideas, new stories waiting to be told. Emma smiled as she played. She thought about the little girl she used to be. The one who was afraid to perform, the one who thought being blind meant being less than others. That little girl would not believe where Emma was now, what she had accomplished, how far she had come. But Emma also knew that the journey was not over. This was just the beginning. She had so much more music inside her, so many more stories to tell, so many more people to reach. And for the first time in her life, Emma was not afraid of what came next. She was excited because Emma had learned something important. Being blind did not define her. Her fears did not define her. Other people's opinions did not define her. Only her music defined her, and her music was just beginning. As Emma played in her living room that night, her parents listened from the kitchen. They held hands and smiled. Their daughter had found her voice, and what a beautiful voice it was. Outside, snow continued to fall. Winter would eventually turn to spring. Spring would turn to summer. Life would continue its natural rhythm. But for Emma Matthews, everything had changed. She had played a new melody at a talent show. She had opened her heart to the world, and the world had listened. Sometimes that is all it takes. One moment of courage. One decision to stop hiding and start sharing. One melody played from the heart. And everything changes, not just for you, but for everyone who hears it, everyone who is touched by it, everyone who needed to hear that they are not alone. Emma had given that gift to hundreds of people, maybe thousands when she counted the online video, and she would continue giving it. Because that was what music was for. Not for competitions or trophies or fame, but for connection, for understanding, for reminding people that we are all human. We all struggle, we all feel pain, and we all have the capacity to turn that pain into something beautiful. That was Emma's story, the blind girl who played a melody and mesmerized a hall. But it was more than that. It was a story about finding yourself, about being brave, about sharing your truth even when it is scary, about turning your difference into your strength, about never letting fear stop you from becoming who you were meant to be. And it was a story that was just beginning.